All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for patiently waiting. Like I said, my name is Joe D'Amelio with 757 CoLab, and we're here today for the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridges Tech Talk on the Joint Prototyping and Experimentation Maritime Program. So I'm going to give a quick introduction, and I'm going to allow some other people to give a quick introduction. So we're going to start with Dr. Julie Stark, who is with the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge from NSWC Carderock.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome. We're very glad you could join us today for this for today's Tech Talk. The Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge is one of 19 tech bridges throughout the world that are here to help be a super connector between non-traditional partners, whether that's industry, academic.
I'm just on a webinar right now, but which need.
Can you mute everybody else, Joe? Okay, now that we've muted everybody. So the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge is here to be a super connector between our government agencies and help those non-traditional partners find funding opportunities. We don't provide the direct funding, but we help to be a super connector and to be a resource to partners. So anybody that's interested in partnering with us can take a look at our LinkedIn page, a Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge LinkedIn page. The QR code is there. You can schedule a meeting with us. And we can also help to find resources about other organizations, specifically within the Department of the Navy, which of course is the Navy and the Marine Corps, but we work with many other government agencies as well. We host a number of activities and events throughout the year, many of which are virtual and some in person, at our place here at the Assembly Building, where we're co-located with 757 CoLab. So without further ado, we'll get right to it. We're excited today to have the Joint Maritime Experimentation, Joint Prototyping and Experimentation Maritime JPEM program that will be talking about a very interesting opportunity where industry, academic, and other partners can come and do demonstrations on a naval vessel. So Dennis Stanko is the program manager, also from my command, NSWC Carderock. So Dennis, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stark. And we write out joint prototyping and experimentation maritime all the time because for many years we were known as the Stiletto program, but our focus is really joint prototyping and experimentation in a maritime environment. Slide, please. First of all, thanks to everybody for participating. I hope you get a lot out of this and hope you ask a lot of questions. We are a series of maritime technology discovery and showcase events. In other words, we're looking for innovative technologies to get them out on the water and evaluate them in a realistic environment on the maritime platform. Our process is streamlined in that our boats that we use are specifically built in order to accommodate new technologies. Meaning we have the facilities, the capabilities, the people, the power, you name it, we can get it on a boat really quickly. We don't have to go through a whole lot of paperwork. When we get it on at the speed of the warfighter needs. We support joint forces, interagencies. You'll see throughout my brief all the different partners we have here. We look at it as a way of reducing developmental risk. Get it out on our boat and we're helping industry achieve their goals quicker. You also have an opportunity to engage with warfighters. We work specifically with them to understand their needs, their gaps, and their requirements, so that as they're watching your technologies, they can give you advice. And in the meantime, you can educate them on the latest developments in technology. Our program is sponsored by the Office of the Secretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, specifically the Innovation and Modernization Shop. We work for the Naval Surface Warfare Center Carderock, the Combatant Craft Division. And NSWCCD owns and operates the boats and runs the program for OSD-IM. Slide, please. I want to go over quickly two basic processes we follow. The first process we call a technology discovery event. This is basically the process where we work specifically with individual developers. Individual companies, individual labs, individual universities, people who are working on a technology that may have a warfighter need. And we'll work with you to help develop that technology and reach it to a point of demonstration. You'll basically use our boat, use our facilities to further develop your technology, and when it's ready, we'll invite interested government stakeholders to come and observe how that technology works. So again, for the individual system developer, the small business, the lab, anybody else who has a technology that might apply to a maritime environment, use our boat as your lab. We'll get it on the water. We'll help you develop it and reduce risk. We also do what we call capability discovery events, where we work specifically with different government stakeholders. And you'll see we work with SOCOM, we work with NSA, we work with NRO, we work with other labs. But we work with them in order to execute the event they want to do. Their event might be focused on their specific mission area, or it might be focused on a specific technology they're interested in. So we do, events that might have to do with port security as a mission area for a government stakeholder. Or we might do an event focused on nothing but radars or cameras, whatever that government industry is focused on. The reason I bring this up early on is because I like to highlight that we leverage those two within our program. We leverage those two processes, because if I have a technology that I'm working on with an individual system developer and it's looking pretty good, I'll take it with me the next time I go to a government sponsored event, so that you can get more exposure through that government program, and vice versa. When the government guys ask me, hey, Dennis, did you guys see any technologies that might meet our mission area or with a technology? I said, yeah, I had it on a month ago, or I had it on 2 weeks ago. So we use those as an opportunity to interchange between the system developers and the government stakeholders. Next slide, please. Again, just recent discovery events. I just wanted to point these out again as an example of who we work with. Our sponsor a year or two ago said, let's go out and do a contested logistics event in the maritime environment. So we put out an RFI, we solicit industry to come on. The technologies we were looking at in this one were GPS systems in a denied environment, robotic systems, etc. We put out the RFI and we put together the data select results. We put together an event. It took about 2 weeks to go through all these in a realistic maritime scenario. We also work with NRO. We do stuff for them and their sensors. And as an example of our versatility, when we're working with NRO, we're usually the red asset. So the others, we can be the blue, but we can switch back and forth. SOCOM, we work with SOCOM a couple of times a year. We've supported ONR in our recent scout events on the East Coast. Bulls West is a Joint Force J6 annual exercise. We're their maritime platform when it's here on the East Coast. And we're working with NSA on their annual maritime exercise called Storm Force. Again, we're their maritime platform. Plus, over the years, we averaged 60 plus technologies on board Stiletto. I need to highlight that we focus on. Our sweet spot is small business or non-traditional system developers. That's what we want to get on the boat. The guys that don't have another opportunity to get on the boat and get out of the water and do real maritime testing and development. So again, just to see how we can bring stuff aboard, and then we can have the opportunity to get in front of government stakeholders. Next slide, please. Just a couple of examples where these are individual system developers that came to us and we worked with them. I'll highlight a couple, like Sea Machines was an autonomous system that we brought on board, and we gave them one of our 11-meter ribs and let them autonomize. The advantage to them is they got to learn what it would do to take an existing Navy platform and turn it into an autonomous boat. Again, the advantage for us was we went on exercise, we had an autonomous boat to incorporate into the exercise. And, they've gone quite a bit further since then. They've been on a Coast Guard boat, other Navy or Marine Corps boats since then. We've introduced an Israeli system called Point Shield to the underwater security program, the Argus guys, which they learned through us maybe 6 or 7 years ago. But again, just because we do something last week doesn't mean it's going to transition the next day. And I use that as an example. We did that 6 years ago, but it's still in use. The aerosol UAV, we actually flew that off of Stiletto in 2014. And it's now on Navy ships, but we like to get out in front. That's our goal, to get out in front. And again, our sponsor goals is innovative, innovation, modernization, get it out there. And we're the easy platform to get it on a boat and get it out there. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, we average over 60 technologies a year. And again, our sweet spot, small business, non-traditional. More than half of the technologies we do are from small business. Again, we specifically look for small business and other non-traditional industry partners. And then again, it's the first time on the water for many of them. Again, big companies have their own boats and do all the rest of stuff. We're looking for those small guys who have something that could apply in maritime water. And they can use our boat as their lab. Their only cost is their travel and their labor. We provide the boats, the targets, the demonstration plan, help them with data collection. So we really want to encourage small business to come aboard and learn on the water. The thing with our boat, you'll see pictures of it, that our boat can operate 200 yards off the coast or 200 miles in the ocean. It's big enough with the shallow draft. We can support open ocean. We can support expeditionary. We can do a lot. Because it's a prototype demonstration in an operational environment, most of the events we have automatic increase up to TRL 7 because it meets that parameter. And industry and government interaction is very key for both sides. Government learns state of the art, industry learns government needs. Everybody we work with, we have a CRADA with. We have about 160 CRADAs in place right now. And they, like I said, our process is streamlined. A lot of times when people hear the word CRADA, they say, oh, no, I got to go through all that. In our case, we're going to say it takes about 3 weeks. We've been doing it for a while. Our only holdback, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but the length of time it takes to do a CRADA depends on the number of lawyers you have in your organization. But we can usually get it done quickly. Next slide, please. Just a little bit of history. The primary platform for our demonstrations is the Stiletto. Stiletto was built back in 2006 by the Pentagon as a concept demonstrator. It was turned over to our sponsor at OSD R&E. OSD R&E came to Carter Rock and said, can you guys turn this vessel into a demonstration platform? And again, we got it, we took it. You see there's a big arch. We added a big arch. That wasn't on when the boat was built. We added that arch, which is bolt on, bolt off, plug and play, conduits all over, so we can put 8 radars up on that mast in a day or so. So we've evolved it to support demonstrations. We added a generator, the generator for demonstrations, the generator on the boat. We added comm gear, we added anything that you'll see in the workspaces where we have your workspaces that are complement the demonstrations and experimentations. So again, quick integration of sensors. And next slide. Pictures are better than me talking. Anyway, this is the physical architecture. You'll see though, once I show you more pictures, how we arranged such that we can pull off a demonstration pretty quickly. And I should add, we have not only Stiletto, but we have the support of NSWC Combatant Craft Division, where I need other boats, where I need target boats. We reach out to them also. If I need a recent demonstration we did, we needed 2 different size boats, and I went out to the Combatant Craft Division, and then they provided us with those other boats as targets. Next slide. Again, this is the platform. I said we can operate 200 yards off the coast because our draft, when we're at that speed, is about 1.5 feet. But we could also go 200 miles because we're 88 feet long and 40 feet wide. So we can give you a realistic environment. When the seas are too rough, We don't really like it, but if we need to do it, we can. Next. This is that arch I was talking about. We added that when OSD asked us to turn it into a demonstration platform. We added that arch, and it's really, I say repeatedly, we had 8 radars up there at one time. We have a stabilized mount for stable. We need stabilized systems like weapons, or cameras, or antennas. We have our own organic sensors on the boat to compare with whatever else we need. That little basket looking thing with that pole going up, that's an extending mast. If we need height, we can put something 35 feet up in the air to get up for a better field of view. Next. This is our port side workspace. We have 6 shock mounted seats, dual display screens, workstations. We have 2 SATCOM systems. You can hook into our network. You can use dirty internet. You can go back to call home from there. But it's climate control. We get red lights, red lights, daylights, night lights. We also have a system available that we can record everything we do. So the system developers, the scientists, the experimenters, that data is very important. So we can record stuff that from our radar, from our AIS, from our ship's motion, all that important data that the experimenters need for data analysis, we'll provide them when the event's over. Next slide. Again, this is more of the workspace. When I say clean power network access, because we have multiple generators, we can accommodate most power needs. If we need single phase, 3-phase, different amperage, we can support almost all power requirements. Internal comms, which is a great system that we usually yell at each other. That's all right. Next one. I mentioned one, I want to repeat again that we use the craft here. You see this NOS 11. We have our own 11-meter rib, which we carry organically. Matter of fact, that was the one that was autonomized by Sea Machines. But if we need something else like a jet ski or other things, we go through the command craft division. But you can see we have a fantastic launch and recovery profile where we launch everything from UUVs to that aerosonde that we talked about earlier, is that big net, jet skis, pricks, and our flight deck. We've launched probably 50 or 60 different UAVs over the years, at least 50. So our flight deck is basically a 20 by 20 space that we can launch and recover. We just finished the event for a government stakeholder where we were launching tethered UAVs. So another event we just finished up on the arch, we installed 6 different passive perception systems. We were working for a government stakeholder interested in how do we apply passive perception to autonomous systems. And we did it on here using our mask. Okay, next slide. Oh. I mentioned, Joey, I was at JPEX last week. JPEX, look, I don't know, I just want to throw this out there. JPEX is Joint Interagency Field Exercise run by Naval Postgraduate School out at Camp Roberts, California. They are our brother program. They are sponsored by OSD, R&E, I&M, the same people that sponsor the JPEM program. But I was at their event last week and they have these 6 tenants. And I said, wow, how about that? That's exactly what we do. Except, I'll say this, austere by design, we're not really that austere. We do have we're a pretty decent maritime platform that you got there. But we really expect collaboration. We encourage collaboration. Bounded but not controlled. We'll keep you in your lane, but you do what you want to do with your equipment. You help with it. Once we understand what you want to do, we'll make sure you don't do anything wrong, but we'll let you do what you want to do. Now, it's quickly, like I say, we have a streamlined process. Let's get it done now. Let's reduce risk and move ahead. Failure equals learning. Failure equals learning. I tell you, there is no such thing as failure on Stiletto. We bring you on board, we work with you, and when you're ready, we'll go. I'll give an example of that. We're working with a company from Iceland right now called Heffring, and they have an intelligent maritime assistance system. They came aboard about 3 months ago, installed the equipment. We're collecting data for them, transmitting it back to them on a periodic basis. And they're using that equipment to further develop their algorithm. That algorithm is fine and fully developed, and it does stuff like optimum path selection, fuel usage, et cetera, that compares all that for really optimum route planning. When they're ready, when it's all done, the algorithm's done, we'll invite them back, plus we'll invite government stakeholders to come and observe exactly how that system works. They're using us now as their lab, and inclusive. We are open to all, small business. I keep saying that, and I mean it, small business, but we're open to all. By that, I mean, the joint forces, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, we have them all on board, and we invite them all as government stakeholders to come and observe our demonstrations. Okay, I should have put on here our contact data, but we can do that if there's any questions. You can ask Joe, you can ask Maritime Tech Bridge, you can come to us, or Dr. Stark, however you want to do that, but I'll leave it at that like that. Joe, is there any questions on the line?
Yes, there are, Dennis. So we'll start with Hank Scott that asked, can we land a UAV on the flat area on the back?
Yes. We're the 20 by 20 deck, Scott or Hank. So we'll accommodate what we can, but we've done quite a few.
All right.
Can I
Does
ask
that
a
answer?
follow-up question?
Say again?
This is Hank. Can I ask a quick follow-up question?
Sure.
Would we be able to secure a dock the size of a cooler onto that flight deck to land on?
Secure a dock the size of a cooler onto the flight deck? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we do have some weight limitations, but it doesn't sound like that would be a weight limitation. We have, again, one of the important things is our space, weight, and power. We do have a weight limitation for topside. It's more like 2,500 pounds, but I don't think you'll have a problem with what you just described.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next, we have Tracy Miller asked, is there a minimum TRL level?
No, we just finished this passive perception event. We asked for, we had systems on board from TLR3 to TLR9. Part of the government stakeholder we were working with, they wanted what's out there, what's in development, what's going on. So we had a couple of systems that came on board at TLR3 who had new ideas, new concepts. We had some that worked pretty well already. So it was a great idea. It was a great way for our government stakeholder to get an idea of the state of the art with passive perception. And we would appreciate something coming on at TLR 3, 4, 5, and us helping you advance it to TRL 7 or 9.
All right, did I answer your question, Tracy?
Yes, that was great. Thank you.
Next, we have Christopher McPherson. Can you talk about what an application is for the tech discovery event? And do you need a CRADA to apply? And if so, is that part of the application process?
I'll follow that up with the submit an application. Anybody can submit an application. Anybody will submit it. Callie here sitting right next to me will get that application. We look for warfighter needs, gaps, requirements, et cetera. Does it fit in that area? And we kind of know that because we also host what we call a common maritime technology working group, where we touch base with operators. And so we understand their needs or gaps, what's going on. So the first thing we do is we get an application from anybody. And we evaluate it in terms of, is there a need for this? Is there a maritime need for this? And then we walk it through our sponsor at OSD, and that's fine. We also look for space, weight, and power. So a key part of that application is defining the objectives. What are you gonna bring on board? What do you want to get out of it? So we can make sure that we can help you get out of it. And then there's always the space, weight, and power questions. How big is it? How much power to take? All that, so we have to be able to technically support it. The bottom line is, anybody can submit an application. We'll help you get it moving. Before we do an event, though, like I say, we have, after we've accepted the application, after we've talked to you about scheduling the event, the first step is, and again, you also talked to Kelly about that, establishing a CRADA. Before we get them on board for an event like this, for a technology discovery event, we will do a CRADA. CRADA is pretty basic, pretty simple. It involves no exchange of money, but it does cover reliability, does cover releasability of information, et cetera. So, but it's pretty easy, but it's something that we do need to get done.
So if I could just add to that, so the CRADA is a limited purpose CRADA between NSWC Carteret and the individual organization. So just to clarify, because CRADAs with OSD, I've heard a little bit are more difficult. So it's something we do very quickly within a couple of weeks. So it's not as involved as if you're doing a CRADA where you're going to be participating in research activities together. So it basically protects the company exchange of information to make sure that the government understands what the company's expectations are and vice versa. So it's pretty quick and easy, as long as the lawyers from both sides can agree on the words.
Thanks, Philly.
Next up, we have a question from Brian. Do you work with nonprofit research organizations? Do you directly or indirectly have a means to provide funding to enable an organization to leverage your capabilities? As we rarely do unfunded work, but see the value of your capabilities.
We have worked with nonprofits. We do not provide any funding from the Stiletto program. There are avenues that we can recommend you to after coming through a demonstration on Stiletto. For example, our sponsor, OSD, R&E, and I&M. There are several programs up there that they're watching over us also to, hey, is that something that would warrant additional funding? So specifically, no, but we do get the word out and let people at the OSD level know what's going on with your technology.
Got another follow on from Tracy Miller. How are RFIs sent out? Or is it via sam.gov?
Yes, when we do a big event like a capability demonstration, yes, we put out an RFI. It comes out from the JPEM program through NSWC Carteret on sam.gov. When we're doing other ones with government stakeholders, like with NSA or like with SOCOM or others, they put out the RFI and they put, we'll support their event. But the bottom line is you don't need to come aboard Stiletto. You do not need to respond to an RFI. Just give us a call, send us an application, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Or we have June Who. Do we need to register on sam.gov for the submission? Can we personally direct or submit a proposal or pitch?
Send the application.
Yeah, absolutely. If again, you have our contact data when this is over, I'm sure Joe will figure out how to share that with everybody. Send an email to me or Callie and we'll respond with an application. We'll go with the application from there.
So to be clear, no, a company, an organization does not need to be registered on sam.gov. That has to do with receiving funding from the government. So to participate in this demonstration program, you do not need to be on sam.gov or have an NCAGE code.
Thank you, Julie, because I have no idea how sam.gov works other than I give them an RFI and it shows up.
That's interesting. Thank you.
And then we've got a question from Mr. Douglas. To everyone, can you please provide the application link? So at the end of this, on the screen now, you'll see a short survey link. So after the presentation, if you take that short survey link, it allows me to get your information so that I can, one, send you the slides that you have seen here today. And I will also send on, if it's okay with you, Dennis, the application link so that you all have that available. The QR codes you see on the screen now are not for an application to JPEM. That is to schedule an individual meeting with the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge or the survey. And like I said, to reiterate the importance, please take it's a very short survey. Please take the minute or two to fill it out, and I will get you all the information we've talked about here today.
And that's a great idea. With the brief, we can provide a copy of the application too.
Yep.
I can send you application.
I mean, send it to Joe. He's the.
Yeah.
Next question from Christopher McPherson. During the event, would we be able to or allowed to take pictures that include the craft? It's a very cool looking ship.
Yes, unless, there are, I didn't highlight it here, but we all are capable of doing classified events. You'll know whether or not we're doing a classified event, and as long as it's, as long as it's not classified, have at it.
There are times where there's multiple companies or organizations that might be on Stiletto at the same time. So that is part of the creative process, is to clarify if you wish to do any video recordings, pictures. And then Stiletto, Dennis Stanko as the program manager would give permission, and the ship's captain would give permission. So it's rare that you get told no, that you can't take pictures, but it is something that has to be communicated as part of the process.
That raises a good point I didn't bring up. I don't know who all on here, but I didn't talk about a skiff. We are outfitted with a T-skiff, temporary skiff. When we need to activate it as a skiff, we can do that, which we do for some government states.
All right, next question up is there a cost for an organization to participate in a demonstration?
The only cost for an organization like a business coming aboard like that is their own labor or their travel. Now, when we're working with big government stakeholders, they put some skin in the game. That helps. OSC puts most of the bill, but I do have to rely on skin in the game from government stakeholders who are doing the big demonstrations.
Where does the Stiletto operate out of?
Little Creek base, Little Creek Port Story amphibious base in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
And last up so far is what is the timeline for how long a company can, or how long it takes for a company to participate in a demonstration? I guess from application to demonstration.
Another great question, because the thing as far as getting an application and getting it back to us and us approving it, getting the approval, all that's very quick. The CRADA, like we say, 3 weeks, maybe 3 to 4 weeks. The hard part is JPEM's dynamic schedule. This is an experimentation, innovation world. So as you can expect, schedules change. We will try to get you on as soon as possible. Right now, though, for example, we're in a very busy period. We're for the next, I think from right now until mid-May, we're booked almost every week. Again, this is a busy period, but things fill up quickly. So the sooner we get the application, sooner we understand what you want to do, we'll schedule it, but plan on 3 to 6 months.
All right. If there are any other questions, please feel free to drop them in chat. If not, again, please take that minute to fill out the survey, and that will get you access to the slides and the application as well for the JPEM program.
Actually, I have a question. Is there a significant difference in the processing for a non-US company or organization?
As far as international?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, we have international partners. Now, the only difference is, and I'm not the person who does the actual CRADA legwork, he has to go through some more hurdles, not hurdles, but more checks. For example, he checks with international related offices. So he has a few more things that he has to cover. So it takes a little bit longer for an international organization to do a CRADA. But that's the only thing as far as we're concerned.
And they have to be eligible if the international partner wishes to be there when the Stiletto is doing the demonstration. If they wish to send non-US citizens, they have to apply to be on the base, which is out of our control and also takes at least a month.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
But it can be done, and we do work with international partners or universities, companies all the time, several times a year.
And right now, I'm working with Israel and Iceland right now. And again, A little more difficult, a little more time consuming than a US guy, but we have experience.
All right, we have Mr. Austin Gray asks, how do we test a propulsion system for a 100-foot vessel, assuming that there is no interest in retrofitting this onto the stiletto?
Propulsion system. I'd have to get more details on what he wants. You're gonna take one of my engines out and put a new one in, or I'd have to get more details. Please take a look at the application, you know, we'll take a look at it. But again, I don't understand, I mean, the question's a hard question, but I want to point out, you know, we have the stiletto prep, but we also have a whole bunch of other boats we have access to, so. We have done propulsion-related experiments. For example, we coated our heat exchangers with different materials for different responses and trying to increase efficiency. We haven't replaced propulsion systems or drive systems. But we have done some engineering type experiments.
All right, so it sounds like further information and expanding on that, Austin, would be beneficial, but again, the application will be following the survey.
What's his name?
Mr. Austin Gray.
Thanks, guys.
And then we've got Brian, how do you collaborate with the other tech bridges? Dr. Stark, would you like to talk about it?
Yeah, so the Tech Bridge, the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge is located here in the Norfolk, Virginia area, but there are 19 tech bridges throughout the world. We all work together as a network. So if you contact our tech bridge and it seems as though you're particular technology focused, or maybe you have a regional technology, then we will sync you up with the tech bridges in the other locations. And we often, the tech bridges collaborate together on things as well. So if it's of interest to the Department of the Navy here, it's probably of interest to the Department of the Navy in other places. When we find good, promising technologies, our goal is to get technologies into the hands of the warfighters faster, cheaper, more efficiently. So if we think one of our other tech bridges can do that, we will connect you and try to make a collaborative effort to make that happen. Dr. Sun has a question too, Joseph.
Does the stiletto mirror the communications or computing environment that you find on a typical Navy ship? Such that if I brought something in to test a comms message and see how it plays, does stiletto provide that opportunity?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. In a way better way than working with a Navy vessel. So, you know, if you have to modify to get an authority to operate on a naval vessel, on any government vessel, it is quite a hassle to be able to plug anything in and do anything because this is a demonstration platform. This ship serves as C2 for some of the big exercises all over the East Coast. So he said we're in Little Creek. The boat lives at Little Creek Base, but goes up and down the East Coast for exercises to do whatever. So the ship is very well positioned to be C2 and to test any C2 systems. So, and in a much easier, more efficient way than trying to do it on a real ship, on an operational vessel, because they have all kinds of capability that the operational vessels, you can't just take out comms on a naval vessel. You can on stiletto with the proper planning and such.
And we have the tech guys that can integrate that equipment pretty easy.
Yeah.
Do you have dimensions of the launch and recovery bay on hand?
We can get that to you.
Okay.
Roughly, it's the size of an 11-meter rib,
Okay.
12 feet wide, 33 feet long.
Okay. They can launch anything.
About 8 feet high, 9 feet high.
Yeah.
I can get you those details though.
I'm sorry, so you'll have to take a survey and then you can get.
Already did.
I'm gonna say that one more time.
I'll add that to my brief. Take the survey.
Take the survey.
Do you have any last remarks before we cut out here, finish up? Any other last comments, Joe?
No, last call for any questions. I know I had a few people jump in late, so is the survey gonna be posted in the chat? Denny, if you take that QR code or the link that's posted there, it says, please take our short survey on this current slide. That'll take you right to the form. You fill that out, it'll get us your information, and I'll send on the slides and the other information regarding registration and contact with the JPEM program.
Can you post it in the chat in case somebody can't see that can see the chat? I'm thinking, government systems. Sometimes
Sure.
you can see chat, but not the screen.
Sure thing.
Yeah, so Joe will post it in the chat in case anybody has an issue like that and can't just get to the QR code.
Did you get my email?
And again, we encourage any of the companies that are organizations that are participating today to sync up with us on the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge LinkedIn page. There'll be a recording of this presentation along with questions and things, recordings of previous presentations, activities and events. We have hosted a number of workshops that are there for small businesses to learn how to work for the government or work with the government. And most of those are on either LinkedIn or YouTube or instead of LinkedIn, I think is the best way to find all of those resources.
All right, and with that, I'd like to say, one second.
John says 12 feet high, 10 feet wide. 12 feet high, 10 feet wide. We can go up to 3,000 pounds.
Thanks, Joe.
With that, I'd like to say thank you, Dennis, for the outstanding brief and presentation. And again, final pitch, please take the survey and appreciate everyone attending today. I hope you all got something out of it. Please let us know what you'd like to see in the future.
Joe, I want to add one more thing.
Yep.
When we have looked specifically for different technologies, we've reached out to the Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge, and they've given us names of companies saying, when I say we lead something that does artificial intelligence, I've reached out to the Tech Bridge and they've come back with, hey, these 4, these 5, 6 companies do artificial intelligence. So thank you, guys.
Very welcome. All right, have a great day. This is Mid-Atlantic Tech Bridge and the JPEM program signing off.
That was really good, Dennis. Nice
Good, good plug at the end. Nice.
Oh, you did. Remember, you got 4 people that come to the CMTWG.